The way I'd always known recording was we would get together in Stephin's minuscule studio, and he would sit on the floor or by the mixing console and kind of produce the record.
It was crammed floor to ceiling with stuff. I remember a lot of hula girl paraphernalia. Oh, and just machines covering all of the walls, like DAT recorders and all sorts of random weird instruments and vintage electronics. You could barely move in it.
There's been some really defeating moments where, like, I've sat around with major A&R people who've been like, I don't know what your goal is, but, like, Stephin Merritt is not gonna be like Britney Spears, so where are you going with it? Like, they've been very, like, kind of negative and very, like, you know, I'm like, I just think he could write a hit or whatever.
69 Love Songs was a little bit different. I remember the first few conversations about it. I think Stephin might have said, hey, I'm thinking about writing this record, and we're gonna have the band do it, and it's gonna be 100 songs or something like that. And how many CDs will that be, do you think? And what's the jewel case going to look like? I think that might have been 1996 or 1997. I think the record probably took in total about a year to make. In a way, I thought, well, it's just a magnetic fields record, but it's several times larger. But it wound up being something that was actually pretty different. We had these guest vocalists on and these other players in the band. I think maybe it was a challenge to try to sustain anyone's interest through 69 songs. And I remember going into his apartment, and there was this huge poster paper. It was kind of tacked up somewhere maybe near his bed or by the recording mixer. And there was just a list of songs in several columns and lots of little cross-outs and that sort of thing. And I think probably everything on the record was there. You know, we usually put stuff out and just kind of hope for the best. The record came out, and the first couple of reviews came back, and it was a shock. It was pretty different, yeah. You know.
Lovely little flowers, so though it's always pricking me, my ardor never sours.
To watch it debut at the Knitting Factory, which felt like that was the final triumph, you know, that we played it at the Knitting Factory, oh my God, everyone heard it, like the end. And then to watch it happen in London and Alice Tully Hall, and then even now to have it be this classic.
Bicycle across town in the rain to bring you candy. John would buy the gown for you to wear to the prom with Tom.
All of a sudden, it's like the New York Times is writing articles, and all of a sudden, all of our parents start to be like, "What?" You know, it was just this kind of moment, and everything flips, and you know.
Stephin had some quote at that point about why we were being nice to him. Remember? Well, they're being nice to me because we finally are successful, or something like that.
Probably.
Remember? He said, you know.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there was definitely a moment of like, oh, I don't need to convince my family anymore that I'm, you know, that I'm not a thing. Like, I have a thing now.